The Rock Interview is catching up with the award-winning, amazingly talented Janie Fricke, who just came out with your brand new The Essential Janie Fricke. Now, thanks for coming on the show.
Well, thanks for having me. It's just a great thrill, and I appreciate that.
It's been like, 4 or 5 years ago when we bumped into each other, and I said, Janie, next time you're in town, I want you on the show, and we finally made it happen.
Oh, I'm so glad, because I came in from Texas just to see you.
Yes, and also all this great hee-haw stuff you've been doing and everything, too.
We've got a lot of, it's neat how you do things back in the day, and then they regenerate. They come back out again.
Right.
For instance, the hee-haw or the Dukes of Hazzard thing.
Yes, I was going to bring that up.
Part on that.
Also, you're a movie star.
No, I'm
not. And from all the multiple TV shows you used to be on.
I played a bank robber on Dukes of Hazzard, and I thought, that, I should have been a country western singer or something other than a bank robber. But they had me wear a jumpsuit, and it took us 10 days to film one spot, and I had to wear that same blue jumpsuit that I was robbing the bank.
I remember the episode, though.
It's crazy. Was it Happy Birthday, General Lee?
I can't remember the name of it, but I just remember you being on it, because obviously knowing your music. But I think it's so cool. I wish they had involved you in the choices for the Essential Janie Fricke. But it's got 40 songs and 18 of your number ones, and I think you've had like 30-something number ones, if I'm correct.
I have no idea.
Yeah, you've had a lot of hit songs.
Actually, I don't even know what. It's like a dream. Going back, did I really do all that? Because it was such fast pace, year after year, and being on the label for 12 years. Yeah. Usually, it was 2 albums each year. So that's what, 24 right
And
there.
that's incredible. Nobody does that today.
And it was a whirlwind because it was very pressured. You have to go in and you have to pick your selections that you want to do for your album, and then you go out on the road and do your shows. So it's a busy life.
Well, and I want to make sure our viewers know also, Janie, I found it so interesting, obviously learning about you, that you came from a musical family. With your mom playing piano and your dad being a guitarist, and he kind of taught you some chords.
Both of them taught me music, and my mother was really critical about my vocal. If I would sing too bright or shrill, she would use that word. And she worked on my tonality, and I didn't even realize at the time that she wanted to hear the tone that she wanted is what she finally formed my voice into.
And did you ever think
and
that
she was not a vocal teacher, she just told me,
But did you think that would turn into you doing, singing with the backup singers here in Nashville, and also, with the commercial work? I mean, all of the commercials that you were on back in the day, and you were the lead voice in those.
And I never thought I'd get into the jingle commercial world, but I was doing a show one night, trying to work my way through college at Indiana University. I did a concert one summer, just playing my guitar and singing, and a man in the audience said, "You should try doing jingles and commercials. Go down to Memphis, Tennessee, and audition for that company." Well, to make a long story short, I did, and jingles became my life, and commercials.
Well, and so many. I mean, Coca-Cola. You did airlines.
United Airlines. Red Lobster. For
Red
the
Lobster.
Seafood loving.
I can still hear that.
I better not sing it, or I'll have to get a residual.
No, but I love that. I love that. I just remember you doing those, and then also you were saying, one of your jingles went into space.
The first one went up on Apollo 12. It went to the moon because the ad agency wanted to have the first jingle on the moon.
Wow.
So we sang to the astronauts as they were brushing their teeth or whatever. No.
Oh my gosh.
And it was Apollo 12 with the weather.
Such history.
Apollo 12 with the weather.
You still got it, Janie. This is why you keep touring all the time.
I sang about weather, and I sang about all kinds of products. When
you know what? If it pays your way through college, I had to mow lawns at SEMO. I think doing jingles and singing is a much better way to go.
Well, and then just because of doing the jingles, that led me into becoming a backup singer.
Right.
So that's when I got the lead to come and move to Nashville and try to get into a vocal group that was doing all the sessions in town.
Well, and you sang with so many huge artists. I mean, like we were talking before we came to the studio about working with Dolly Parton, obviously Crystal Gale, Charlie Rich.
Well, we were the vocal group, and they would hire us to come in and enhance their records. So after they did their vocal parts, we were the backup, and we just added little oohs and ahs.
And there were 3 of you.
There were 3 of us usually, sometimes more, 4 or 5 maybe. But the producer would tell us exactly where to sing and when, and then we would leave that studio and go over to another one and do another artist. So one day maybe we did Conway Twitty, Barbara Mandrell, Frank Sinatra Jr., and Joe Tex.
Oh my gosh.
We could have done 4 sessions in a day, and we were exhausted and tired, but it was a great It was a great
Well, you know,
gig.
and I thought it was so incredible also, and, you know, incredible, but also somewhat sad to where you worked on Elvis's last album.
Yes, yes, we did. We were called to do harmony to add to his last live concert. So we went in the studio and we started the project, and the next week he passed away. Then we had to go in the next week after that, and I remember putting the headphones on, realizing that Elvis was gone. And we worked with his producer, Felton Jarvis, who was devastated at the time. And then only about a month later, we lost Felton Jarvis.
Such a shame.
So it was a very hard time for us. But,
well, and you worked with so many incredible producers and artists, like you
Yeah.
said, you know, doing the background vocals, you got to know these people.
we got to meet all the top producers in town and work with all the top artists. It was a fascinating time.
I thought it was very interesting, too, on it, Janie, to where, you know, you got to work with Merle Haggard, Mo Bandy. You said
Vernon
that
Gosdin.
Vernon Gosdin, and Charlie Pride gave you your first shot, you said.
Well, yeah, I got booked on some shows to go out on the road, and Charlie, the promoters, put me on his concerts. So they put me on his plane with his band, and we would fly to Canada, we'd fly to Washington State, and his band backed me up.
Wow.
This was when I did my first album, and I had my first singles out,
Yeah.
like Please Help Me I'm Falling was one, and Billy Sherrill production.
Yeah.
And so I only got to do maybe 4 or 5 songs, but that was my start.
How amazing.
And so Charlie, who lives in Dallas, and I live in the Dallas area, so we've become friends with the families and go to Christmas parties
You
together.
know, Charlie
It's
Pride
just
is such an incredible
amazing.
gentleman.
He sure
and he's
is.
still, you know, even today as we were talking, you know, still performing and
Right.
touring and with the recent documentary and everything.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, Janie, I think you're going to have to put a book together here.
Oh, I don't think
You
I
know,
could ever do
I mean,
that.
just with your history from, you know, from starting out as a child singing so
Yeah.
young and then, you know, working your way up through and the jingles in
Oh,
college.
it'd be fun to do, no doubt, but I don't think I could gather that much information. No, I probably
Well, and I
won't.
think what I would
Probably
find
won't.
fascinating, I'm sure our viewers
be
would too,
fun.
particularly your background singing, you know, like you said, going in and working with Dolly.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that Dolly liked to record late
That was
at night.
at midnight, and I was singing the soprano part, thinking, "How am I going to do this?" And so I was up there singing in the stratosphere, and Dolly's, you know, telling us what to do on the, and then, you know, eventually we go home, probably 12:31 in the morning.
Right.
We're finished with that album, but yeah, just to be able to sing back up in the vocal group and work on those projects was
Yeah.
an amazing time.
Well, and also for you then, you know, as that evolved into your own career as a solo artist, you know, and like I was telling you before we came to the studio, it's like it seemed like every country music special that was on, you were on it. You know,
I
whether it was the
doing a lot.
Mantrells, I mean, you were
Oh.
everywhere.
Well, back in those days, Pop Goes the Country and all the TNN shows
Yeah.
and working with Ralph Emery and,
Oh,
and
yeah,
all the
Ralph.
great
What a talent.
DJs and the people that promoted us. It was like a little family circle, and there was so much enthusiasm, but everybody really loved each other.
Right.
It was a warm,
And you could tell it. You could tell it on the programs.
close-knit group here in Music City, USA.
Yeah, well, it's so nice to have you back. And I want to bring up also, you know, what's the best place for our viewers to find, you know, your website, your socials, everything else, Janie?
Well, JanieFricke.com is the website, and that's as far as I know, because I don't even do my own social media.
Well, it's good to have
I
people.
hardly touch a computer. I can barely do an iPhone, but
Because you're out making great music.
there's people in the office that are putting that information out there somewhere. So
Now,
I
do you
guess-
think they're ever going to like call you in to do some more jingles at some point?
I kind of doubt that.
I wish they would.
Maybe so.
Do
You never
you
know.
ever throw out one like when you're on tour? And I know you're, you know, huge
Oh
tour
yeah, I
in
do a
2018.
jingle medley.
Do you?
Oh sure, for sure I do.
I got to see that.
Yeah, I do the jingle medley. I do Have a Coke and a Smile, and then I dedicate to my band Coors Light.
Yes.
And Dial Soap.
Well, you have a great band, and
Red
also,
Lobster.
you know, and you mentioned too that sometimes you tour with like T.G. Shepherd and
Yes.
some other great
Sometimes
artists.
I package up with other artists.
Yeah.
It was John Conley, it was T.G. Shepherd, it's Mo Bandy. But my band and I base out of Dallas-Fort Worth, and we go everywhere and do our shows. So
Well, I'm
it's
so
exciting.
glad that you're still out on the road and
Yeah.
making great music. Be sure and buy your own copy. It is the Essential Janie Fricke. 40 hits, 18 number ones on there, and I think maybe some more new albums coming out in the near future, maybe, huh?
Who knows? You never know. Maybe so.
And be sure and see her on the road also. Janie Fricke, thanks for watching The Rockin' Review.